honestly think this is the first time in history that we have joined together as one force. But I am going to declare right now, I'm going to say pushing out of 2018 into 2019, we'll probably see some more shows with Eric Gales in Mississippi. So the reason why his name come out of my mouth every day is because it's a song in my set list that I named Mr. Sip. And it so happens to be that we saw him doing a rendition of Smokestack Lightning by Howlin' Wolf. So that night I told my band, I'm like, yo, we putting it in the set, but I'm gonna call it Mississippi. So I found it fitting to bring Mississippi up while we played Mississippi. Let me make sure I can hear pretty good. Hit me a note or two. Bring him up in the wedges a little bit. It's gonna be fun, y'all.
These guys are amazing. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Texas in the house, Myra. I didn't see who else came on. The Blues Weekend, people. We're about to get started. Let's wait, get a few more people on here. I got a pretty interesting email this morning. I've been toying with the idea of all day long whether to bring it out or not. Here we go. Mississippi Blues Band with Eric Gale. This was done in 2018, Las Vegas, Nevada. And with the president, he's doing a fine job, isn't he, huh? We're shitting again. What do you think about that blackout last night? How was Scott Saccone going off today, huh? How was Scott Saccone going off today? Well, he called those people right on out, didn't he?
Big Don.
Here we go.
Big Don.
A little salute to the president.
Every morning on time, you could see him arrive. He stood 6'3" and weighed 235, kind of broad at the shoulder and fast with the lip. And everybody knew you didn't give no shit to Big Don.
That's right. You don't give the president any shit.
Big Don. Big Bad Don. Through the dust and the smoke of this Democrat hell walked a giant of a man that the Patriots knew well, grabbed the sagging economy, let out with a groan and like a mighty
I got some good stuff for you, people. You thought the other day was good. You wait till you get this one.
I'm talking about our man
shit.
Donald Trump. He's the president now, and all you chumps can just settle down and stay in your safe space. We're about to make America a better place with Big Don. Big Don. Big Don. Big Bad Don.
All right, folks, you're riding live with Bobby Allen. Or as live as you put out, we're as live as we're going to get right now. We're shitting and getting. Like I said, I was going to spend all morning thinking about this. And first of all, I wake up to the little bell ringing, ding, 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 ding. That's my alerts, YouTube alerts. And it's Scott Saccone. And let me tell you what, man, I don't know how many people have seen it. If you haven't seen it, you need to go to Planet X News after you get done with me on YouTube and look at Planet X News when you're done listening to me. Because he ripped some assholes open this morning. Hell, he wasn't even talking about me. Pastor Paul Begley, Gina Marie Coleman, Mark Elton, Mike from around the world, and Lori Walls. Boy, did Scott Saccone call all of them out. And I tell you what amazes me is I haven't seen any rebuttals to it yet. You know, I wasn't on the shit list, so my shit must be good, because Scott does know what he's doing. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that blackout last night. Now, if you think that that was an accident, you need to go ahead and adjust your tinfoil hat so you can get a little more dialed in. That actually went out at almost a perfect square in the Manhattan area. Whose house there? Epstein's house there. El Chapo's house there. The Society for the Cruelty of Children was blacked out. They did some ice raids last night. A whole lot of stuff's going on behind the scenes. Hey, Inky Stinky, what's going on? Scott is in the house. Renita Wilder, I can't mention all of you. I just want to thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, oh yeah, Adam, Scott went off. Dr. Alders wasn't there this morning, but Scott, 2 hours, he went off. I mean, just ripped everybody a new asshole. Anywhere from lens flares to lens mold to just bullshit. I mean, he had the place on fire. So, you know, JFK's Jr. is real. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but you're putting on all these TV shows about the death of JFK, the last wedding tapes of JFK. The deep state knows that JFK Jr., Donald Trump, and some military officials tricked their ass over 20 years ago. Tricked their ass. John F. Kennedy Jr. longed for his father his entire life. And he was a smart individual, and he put a plan together. And it worked, because the first 20 minutes after that plane went down, they went to a false beacon, directed the whole Coast Guard, the whole military looking for that plane, sent them to the wrong area. And when you're, you know, dipping and diving, shaking and jiving, it doesn't take long to fool somebody or to escape. So we'll just wait and see on that. Was Pence going to assassinate Trump? You know, Pence got the letter. Hey, Ann Hastings, what's going on? Y'all give Ann Hastings a shout out for her releasing the whistleblower information on the USGS and the rising magna chamber. All right. So you guys know that I have said from the start that the military base in China Lake was not an earthquake. It hasn't been earthquakes. They might have caused some rumblings by shaking the earth. But I got a letter this morning, an email this morning. Dear Bobby, I hope I'm not disturbing you. Based on your insight and forethought to release some information sent from a main data analyst at the USGS, I thought I would send you something that I was personally involved with and a part of my entire life. If you're interested, please pass this on. Now, I would encourage all of you to share this. Before I begin, I am exercising my First Amendment right. And this is for educational purposes and my recreational enjoyment. I'm having a good time doing this, and I really am. I'm also freedom of speech. I'll say what I want, when I want, where I want, kiss my ass, or however I want. All right? And I'm also exercising the Journalism Act, which protects a citizen journalist like ourselves. And all of you are citizen journalists. I give a shout out to Amy Secord last night. She told me about the blackout. Boom, I hit the internet, and I got a live feed right from New York City. And the next time, and I put it on the YouTube channel, on the Bobby Allen Truth Factory, under Bobby Allen Truth Factory welcomes you. So anytime something like that happens again, all you got to do to see it live is go to the Bobby Allen Truth Factory and go to the Bobby Allen Truth Factory welcomes you. I don't have any teleprompter. I'm just shooting this from the hip and from the lip. If you're interested, share this. These earthquakes keep happening right near the China Lake military base. This base is a huge dome. We all know what that means, deep underground military base. Or, in the deep state's case, a bunker. But this is a base, like Dulce. China Lake has a disgusting history that I'm embarrassed to say I was a part of. And I'm going to share this with you to educate you and to help you understand that there's a reason. That all 3 recent earthquakes, California earthquakes, are hitting right at this location. These earthquakes are most likely not earthquakes at all. There's something going on at China Lake, and the technology they possess is top secret. I will warn you, and I'm warning you, that this information that I'm about to reveal to you is going to be a bit hard to digest. But if you want to understand the truth, you have to first understand what this place is. They're talking about China Lake. And every one of you, go to your share button, hit your share button, and share this to go on over, hit share to a group, and share this to all your groups. Share it to your friends, share it to anybody you don't like, share it to somebody to wake up. I mean, I don't mind rolling the dice. I wish some asshole, they didn't kill me in California, they're certainly not going to get me in Maine. All right? There is more to the below information, but it's really long. So you can start with this, and then I will show you more. The initial splits and initial programming done at China Lake, California, United States Naval Base. California, which has officially gone under the designations of Naval Ordnance Test Station, Naval Weapons Center, Ridgecrest, the town nearby, Eno Kern, the area, and the address of the Nemesis Hospital is the code 232 Naval Air Weapons Base. Base was set up to test new weapons, and eventually the Navy decided that mind control people were an important weapon to test. Did you hear that? Eventually the Navy decided that mind control people were an important weapon to test. Now, it's also the Navy that has the Space Force. It's also the Navy that was tracking all the missing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars since September 10th, 2001, when they said, hey, we lost $6 trillion, and the next day, down come the trade towers, down goes the plane in Shanksburg, Pennsylvania, and there goes the missile right into the Pentagon, into the exact office that was doing the investigation on the money missing, and Donald Rumsfeld announced it the day before. 9/11 was an inside job. And if you believe it wasn't, you are fooling yourself and you're lying to your children. Because what do they tell the kids at school about 9/11 this year? Son of a bitches. Most of the new weapons created at China Lake were for the most part, human robots turned out in large numbers. The Monarch mind control was carried out in large airplane hangars on the base, which have been able to house thousands of tiny cages, just large enough for human babies. Lots of 1,000 babies was a small batch. So lots of 1,000 was a small batch. Many batches were 2,000 and 3,000 babies. Planned Parenthood, Haiti earthquake. The cages were hot wired. No, hang on a second. Many survivors remember the thousands of cages housing the little children from ceiling floor. Some of the children surviving are your stars in the movie industry, music industry, Illuminati, Illuminati, Illuminati. You know, just because you're not singing a record doesn't mean that you're not part of the Illuminati. They've infiltrated every industry. Every industry is infiltrated by the Illuminati. Look at your school system. That's pure Rockefeller, Draconian, Luciferian, satanic bullshit that they're teaching the children right now today. They don't know what gender they are. I'm not even going to go off on that. Okay? The cages were hot wired, electrified on the ceiling, bottom, and sides, so that the children who are locked inside can receive horrific electric shocks to their bodies, to groom their minds, to split them into multiple personalities. These cages were called woodpecker grids. Now look up woodpecker grids when you get a chance. The victim sees a flash of light. When the high DC voltage is applied, later the flash of light is used with a hypnotic induction to make the person think they're going into another dimension. When they're blasted with the high voltage. In the Peter Pan programming, programmers tell the slaves that this is riding the light. One of the popular traumas after the small child has endured the woodpecker grid cages for days is to rape it. The rape is intentionally brutal and will be so traumatic as possible. Many of the technical people at the base are civilians. This is in part because of the research involves mind control, and the Illuminati civilian mind control experts have come and gone from the base. They said that all essential personnel need to leave the base after the earthquake and ain't been back since. Okay? Just food for thought. Now, if you believe this isn't possible, you're insane. The only limitation to what's been done to us is your imagination. We've been mind fucked since we were born. This entire civilization, since it was built on the bones of another civilization. And the civilizations are always destroyed because of the earth changes and what happens when the stellar cores and the planets of Nibiru, whatever the hell you want to call it, comes through here and resets this earth. Sometimes it's a magnetic pole shift, other times it's major crustal displacement. And that's what's going to happen this time. There's going to be major crustal displacement. These earthquakes are just ripping apart at the fault lines. And now maybe the magma's leaking into the center core. Come on now, people. Let's look alive here. Let's look alive. Stay alert, stay alive. And much of the work of the facility is for the intelligent agencies and not the military. Intelligent assets are often civilians. Now we're talking CIA and all that bullshit. One of the things developed in California, in the California universities, and then implemented at China Lake, was color programming, which will be covered later in this email. Red and green were discovered to be the most visible colors for programming. Various colored flashing lights were used at programming. Survivors of the programming all remember flashing lights. The use of flashing lights has been introduced to the American culture by the CIA. If a person goes into bars and places where bands play, you will notice multicolored lights. Lights flashing at your intersection. The flashing lights create disassociation, especially in people that are programmed. How's everybody doing so far? Okay. New subsection. How children are transported to a major programming site. Now, you're going to love this one. A list of major programming centers will be sent to you at a later date, along with each site's programming specialties. And this email is just an example of just one of the bases used for early program is given the large and very secret China Lake facility in California near Death Valley. Now, how much more specific can it be? You just don't make this shit up. You just don't make it up. This is truth, people. This is what's been going on behind your back your entire lives. I don't care whether you're 5 years old or 50 years old or 100 years old. Your entire life is a false reality. It's all bullshit. Oh, man, I get fired up over this. The children are brought into China Lake by trains, planes, cars, and ships in the intercoastal underground waterway. Let me repeat that. Intercoastal underground waterway that goes from the Pacific. You see where China Lake is on your map? It's all on the ground. Fresh water, boom, 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 beam. Bring them right on in there. A number of the small airfields which fly these children into China Lake have been identified. One, which is no longer used for moving children, was a private airstrip in Sheridan, Oregon, which was beside a large lumber mill. The lumber mill had an agreement to secretly house the children that had their mouths taped. Neighbors in the area were bought off, and they were warned that if they talked, they would be in trouble for broaching national security. The area has lots of mills joined by train tracks, which were used to shuttle the children around. Tied into this network was a Catholic monastery, which lies between Sheridan and McMinnville, close to the rail network. Now, the rail network is common, okay? It's how they did it in Germany. You know, Prescott Bush financed Hitler. You all know that. The father, H.W. Bush. Now, if you don't know that, you better check some shit out. The deep FEMA camps, the Walmart stores, the Target stores, they are all built near railroad tracks. The first Target store built into a FEMA camp was right there in California where I was at. And it was right by a train track, right by an interstate. The United Train Station in Portland, Oregon, has underground tunnels where children were temporarily warehoused in cages before continuing their journey. The Jesuits were an active part of this child procurement. Catholic adoption agency, which there are many of. Nuns who get pregnant. Third world parents. Parents who sell their children. Were all sources of children for programming. When one thinks about how many corrupt people there are and how many towns and cities on the West Coast, how many children are produced by satanic breeders. You know, Gloria Vanderbilt, she had one son died. That son was sacrificed. And Anderson Cooper was the baby boy she chose to keep. And that's a fact, Jack. Do some research. Satanic breeders, illegal aliens, and other parents would rather have the money than the children. Now you begin to realize how procuring batches of 1,000 or 2,000 children was no problem for the Illuminati through intelligence agencies such as the CIA, the NIS, the DIA, the FBI, FEMA, the Finders, a joint CIA, FBI group, procured children for years. Disney is also a big children provider. I guess they mean Disney World. Well, plus they, mind fuck them on TV. If your kids are watching Disney, you better turn it off. If anything says Disney, turn it off, or you're doing your children a disservice. Maybe they'll charge your ass for family neglect. You've been warned. This is all about the children. It's always been about the children. It will end up being about the children. And they said they're going to stop this pedophile shit. The secret FEMA airstrip at Santa Rosa has planes landing and leaving all night. Some of these flights go east and land at a secret 800 square mile China Lake Naval Research Base and are believed to carry children for programming. The airstrip is also called the Santa Rosa Air Center. Center, meaning hub. The Santa Rosa is, near Santa Rosa is the Bohemian Grove. How convenient is that? I was fortunate enough to be able to drive by that. I never went inside when I was in California, but I know where it is. We did several shows in Santa Rosa each time during the year. Southwest of the Santa Rosa, this air center, which is not used by the public. The airport was recently used by private pilots as a FBO. I don't know what that means. It was built during World War II as a training base for the P-32 pilots and deactivated in 1952. Now, let's not forget that old Eisenhower signed a treaty with the aliens. Aliens are demons, folks. After the war, it was leased to private companies such as the CIA. The paved areas are 4-foot concrete and can land the heaviest planes in use. There are no buildings over 2 stories in the entire area and no control tower. The FBI have a contingent in the federal building downtown Santa Rosa, and FEMA has a radio station at the airport. The Army Reserve also uses some buildings in the area. However, there is some highly secret activity going on underground at the airport. 6 and 7 small planes sneak in and out of the airport each day, and the basis description that is closed. So now you got planes flying in and out of a place that's got a sign on it that says it's closed. The planes take off in the evening and do not turn their lights on until hundreds of feet into the air. The Press Democrat of Santa Rosa, which is the paper, ran an article on Thursday, April the 22nd, about the federal government selling 70 acres of property just to the east of the airport. However, when one reads closely, the land is going to be offered to a host of federal agencies. The property was being used by FEMA. It's got a phone number, 707-542-4534. It might be worth giving the old call to. I'll repeat that number. So everybody's got any nuts out there. 707-542-4534. If one thinks about it, it's unlikely that the radio station is a FEMA transmitter station. The close vicinity to the secret activity to the elite's Bohemian Grove makes this an interesting site for study. Means investigate it a little bit more. The airport used for the Bohemian Grove visitors is north of Santa Rosa on Highway 101. The Sonoma County Airport, I know exactly where that is. They did an air show there. United Express and American Eagle, the little tiny planes, fly into that airport. In 1964, the airport was reported to have also carried about 600 military operations, either a takeoff or landing per year. It was around this time the federal government made an agreement with Sonoma County Airport to help pay for the runway to extend it. The runway was also strengthened, and the airport will be upgraded, and it was upgraded in numerous ways. The elite from around the world flying to here to go to Bohemian Grove, which is in the Monterey area, wine country. Monarch slaves are regularly abused at the Grove for entertainment. The Bohemian Grove also entices its members into kinky sex theme rooms, such as a dark room and the necrophilia room. Secret New World Order business conducted in the small dark lounge with a wooden sign naming it UN Underground. UN Underground. It means UN in the ground. Oh, my throat's running out of here. I haven't so much so long. Worth every minute of it, folks. It'll be up on the YouTube also. Make sure you share it to a friend. These airfields, no. Slaves are hunted in the woods for sport, called the most dangerous game. Remember the movie that was made with Robert De Niro in there where they turn a guy loose, he'd run through the woods and they go hunt him down? This is where the concept came from, people. The children are trickled in from various collection points to China Lake. Monarch slaves, many of them children themselves, are used in this extensive child procurement program. Children are also used to entice and kidnap other children. Teenage slaves are used to escort and transport little children on trains, buses, and planes. You know, they think it's their brother, so they just go right along willingly. The triangle-shaped airfield at China Lake. Do you notice that? Triangle-shaped airfield at China Lake. Illuminati triangle. Are we putting it all together yet, people? This is truth. Real truth. This is what our government has done. And they leave it all the way around the world. That's what they do. It all starts here. It goes through those Jesuits. That Pope was a Jesuit that we have now. It's all bullshit. You know, raid Area 51. Shit. Why don't we raid the damn government buildings like they did in Hong Kong or like they're doing in Venezuela? Don't waste your time on Area 51. That's a hoax. There ain't going to be nothing there when you get there except a bunch of bullets to shoot your ass. Let's go to D.C. and run that place over. God damn, I'm fired up. The airfield connects to the main base area via the Sandquist Road. Here's pretty detailed information here, folks. Give you names of roads, phone numbers, counties, coordinates. Children land at this field while others are driven through the gates guarded by Marines, and others come through via the east-west rail line. The fact that children are driving through the gates is not alarming because inside the military perimeter is a high school, a junior high, and 3 other schools. Some of the adults and the children being programmed stay at the military barracks. Crews set huts in 1-story buildings while they wait. A male Marnac victim that I know remembers a large hangar building at China Lake with a concrete floor and rows of cages suspended from the ceiling, filling the large building. One of the programmers was dressed similar to a Catholic priest. The electric current that ran through the cages made a hum like an electric fence. There was a marble slab that served as an altar where black hooded road people would take a bone-handled knife and sacrifice little children in front of the other children in the cages. Memories from other survivors about the place will be mentioned later. This is just fucking astounding. Just astounding. More about the base. God damn, how much more could there be about this base? Charles Manson, a programmed monarch slave who received initial programming at China Lake. See, all these guys that did crazy shit were all programmed fucked with. You know, like the dude that shot at the theater in Colorado. Who knows what happened to the kids at Columbine? I mean, it's all fucked up. They're all fucked up. You know, you don't see your children going out and shooting up somebody. No, you kept your eye on your children. You didn't sell your soul to the devil. Charles Program, a program monarch slave who received initial program at China Lake, lived with his cult only 45 miles northwest of China Lake. They ain't that cute. At the remote Myers and Barker ranches, Scotty's Castle in Death Valley, Bakersfield Edwards Air Force Base, Papa Ludo's Store and Tavern with its secret underground programming center are all in the vicinity of China Lake and have all been doing program and have all been programming sites too. Old Route 66 went by China Lake, which is now just off of US 395. The area's tavern has been named the Hideaway. How convenient is that? with a large unlit parking lot. Only people who knew how to enter it by the obscure entrance on the side could get in. The Hideaway Tavern has been a local hangout for the CIA men in China Lake. It has served them excellent steaks. The base headquarters is known as the White House, and it looks somewhat like a yacht clubhouse. Northwest of the airfield, at 39 and 64 and 433 east on the quad maps, the government has built a large magical seal of Solomon hexagram with each leg a quarter mile long in the ground. That must be a marker from the air. What is it like for a victim in the early 50s at one of these programming centers? None of the buildings in the area used for programming was described as having a flat roof and a tan interior. A fence ran around the building. Inside the front door was an oak reception desk. A series of 3 doors connected by tunnels were passed through. One entered into a hallway that took a left onto the programming room. Tunnels connected all the different hallways. I told you China Lake was 23 stories deep. When are you going to start listening? This is not a fiction, people. This is truth. And it's all coming to light. And JFK Jr. is alive. And you'll see him on the ticket in 2020. I sincerely believe it. Because you don't see any signs being made to say Trump Pence. The programming room was painted a good disassociative color. White in the middle of the room. Cages were suspended with chimps. Yeah, it says chimps. It's probably supposed to be clamps. An examining table was metal, which was cold for the victim but easy to wash for the attendants. The victim was placed in cages and could observe white dots lighting up in a different dot pattern over the door of the panel of the lights. The low-level shocks to the victims were coordinated with the dot patterns. I guess so, some of this relates to doming programming. An entire attendant monitored the entire scenario on charts while the child was repeatedly traumatized with low-voltage shocks. Needles were poked into the child. The room was made dark and then lit. Voices says, love me not. And this was part of the love me, don't love me part of the programming. Good girls ride the silvery wings. This was to build the ability to condition trancing victims upon electric shock. German and British scientists, mind control programmers, came to the Naval training station there, China Lake, after World War II, including Joseph Mengele, known as Dr. Green or Dr. Greenbaum. The Illuminati's Dr. Black worked out of China Lake. Also, Dr. White, identified as Dr. Ewan Cameron, worked on the East Coast, although he did fly in every so often to the West Coast to meet with other top programmers. Dr. Blue was another of the important Illuminati programmers. These top programmers, World War II was bullshit. It was to get those people over here. I mean, they were with the Pritzker family was with Hitler when they raided the Himalayas and stole all the ancient secrets from the Tibetans. The grandmothers and the grandmasters of the Illuminati participated in helping with the program. As a child, the Illuminati progressed through its programming. 3 people had oversight over its programming. Its grandmother, its grand dame, or dame, D-A-M-E, and the programmer. The Illuminati functions off a chain of command similar to the military. In fact, a big secret is that Satan's realm actually serves as a model for military and political structures. And that's true. You know, look at all the references to Rome and stuff. The child will be the Illuminati call it a warmonger. The label is charts. The child will be a general. Then they proceed to program it to become a general. Nurses, teachers, child psychiatrists must be programmed. Everybody's programmed. Listen to this. The Illuminati victims are parents of the most who are important religious leaders. Many of them are top clergymen. Imagine doing this to your child. You could do it like a child. Most love, let's see, as the reader might inquire, the children's victims' body temperature, respiration, pulse, and blood. Bobby, I'll send you more if you're interested. Hopefully you'll share this to the right people. I'm sharing it to all the people. And that's your job, is to share it to all the people. I don't sit here and sweat my ass off and read this stuff, not to have you tell somebody about it. Now, boy, did Scott Saccone go off, huh? Man, he went right off on those people like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. You've been riding live with Bobby Allen. Stay tuned. I guarantee you, more people are going to open up to me. Don't forget, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the Bobby Allen Truth Factory. Get a friend to subscribe to the Bobby Allen Truth Factory. I need 1,000 subscribers to do this live. You know, they changed all the rules. So shake somebody, wake them up, tell them to join the Bobby Allen Truth Factory. If you got different computers at home with different Chromes, go ahead and hook those things up and subscribe to, and let's get those numbers up. You've been riding live with Bobby Allen, and this is our president. Here we go.
Big Don.
Thank you, folks, for listening.
Big Don. Every morning on time, you could see him arrive. He stood 6'3" and weighed 235, kind of broad at the shoulder and fast with the lip. And everybody knew you didn't give no shit to Big Don. Big Don, Big Don, Big Bad Don. Through the dust and the smoke of this Democrat hell walked a giant of a man that the Patriots knew well, grabbed a sagging economy and let out with a groan, and like a mighty oak tree just stood there alone.
You can find this with the lyrics on the Bobby Allen Truth Factory
our man,
in the music
Trump,
category.
The, now, the
song is available with lyrics in the music category at the Bobby Allen Truth Factory. Go ahead and put it on your YouTube channel. Play it whatever you want to.
Big Don, Big Bad Don. Well, old Don got to work because we got problems to be solved, and the Democrats shouted, "The Russians are involved," brought out their special counsel with Robert Mueller. Too bad the wall just got 10 feet taller with Big Don. Well, they will lie and cheat and steal and threaten and pander to illegals before our veterans.
Don't forget, we're kicking in the doors. We're sending these people out of here.
It's about time to put America.
You see helicopters flying above your head. God knows what that's about. Eyes to the sky, ears to the ground. Stay alert, stay alive. Peace. I'll let the song finish playing.
We're gonna put these criminals where they belong. We got people like Hannity and Julian Assange and all the centipedes following QAnon, and Americans like me just singing my song for Big Don. The path ain't easy cause the devil's working hard, but we got God on our side and he's playing his trump card. Just remember, my countrymen, to always stick together. Fake news can't stop us from making this world better with Big Don. Big Don, Big Don, Big Bad Don. When it's all said and done, America will be great, and we'll build a statue just to commemorate a great man with these words on a slate. Thanks to the people's power, a man came from his tower to save America in its final hour. Big Don. Big Don, Big Don, Big Bad Don.
A lot of good comments there. I'll try to get to them, folks.
enough with it anymore.
See if you recognize this song.
I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murdering scum that run giant death factories, keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, "We love Satan, we wanna eat babies." I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man.
Truth. Music.
She sleeps in that same room with that creepy, weirdo woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink.
I've just exercised my First Amendment right as an American citizen. Do not censor this video, period. I've done nothing wrong, said nothing wrong.
Literal vampire pot-belly goblins are hobbling around, coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're sick of Senate crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions are pouring in, people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife through the side. We're gonna stab you with a butcher's knife. Then the police chief is gonna
Gotta
say,
love them Somalis.
"We love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet."
Thank you.
Right when I thought that the mainstream